Okay, hello. Welcome back to Gadget Conquest. And as you noticed, I am here at my desk, at my workstation, if you will. I'm not in my little studio area, and the reason is because this video is slightly different. I actually just want to talk about the Oculus Quest 2 a bit. So this has been out for a few months and I have been using it, and I just wanted to do a quick comparison between this and the Rift S, which I have actually been a user of since it came out. So, you know, over a year at this point. And I just wanted to go over some points, some comparison points between the two, and talk about whether or not the Rift S is even something that you should even be considering to buy if you are looking for a inside-out tracking, low, you know, not very expensive VR headset. So with that out of the way, let's get into this video. All right, hey everybody, welcome back to Gadget Conquest. Now, I am going to be talking about the Rift S compared to the Oculus Quest 2 today, and really the points that I want to come across are the improvements that the Oculus Quest 2 has over the Rift S, not just in hardware, but also in software, because there is actually difference in software as well when it comes to firmware updates, but we'll get into that. First, let me introduce my Quest 2 real quick and the configuration that I'm using it in, because I did actually buy the Elite Strap. Is that what it's called? Yes, the Elite Strap, which was a $50 upsell. And I did also buy the link cable because I do use the Quest 2 as a desktop VR headset. So that is why I am able to make that comparison with the Rift S. Now, I should get into first with the desktop thing. The Display Link cable and the Oculus Link software or firmware, whatever you want to call it, that is currently in beta, and it's not guaranteed to be stable. But in my personal experience over the past few weeks, it has actually been pretty stable, and I haven't actually had any problems with it. The only problems I've really had with the Quest so far have been issues with streaming to my phone and other devices, where streaming to my phone, it doesn't work 100% of the time, and sometimes I have to restart the headset in order to get the stream to work. But if you're someone who's not going to be using it in portable mode, then that's not really an issue. And then also, all you have to do is restart the headset. It's not like the streaming just straight up doesn't work. It just needs some fiddling with, and that is something that's buggy, but it's not that big of a deal. Now, if you do get the Quest 2, you have to get the Elite Strap. If you've watched any other review videos, then the reviewers all would have told you the same thing. Get the Elite Strap. I used it without the Elite Strap for 2 weeks, and I hated it. I cannot tell you how much I hated it. God, I hated it so much. I hated it so much that I went to Best Buy and I just bought the Elite Strap. It was 50 bucks. It was kind of, I would say it's a little bit too much money, but it is honestly completely worth it if you have the Quest to get the Elite Strap. It's really night and day difference. It fits so much better on my face, and also it's not as like it felt kind of like wobbly when I was using it, and that feeling doesn't happen anymore. And because of the way that the silicone, so it has this, I'm just gonna keep picking this thing up and putting it back down again. Because of the way that this silicone sort of like brace, like this cradle happens here, it's super, super comfortable, and I actually don't feel any of this back halo part. The Rift S has a halo design, so it already has this, but the Rift S has the downside of, first of all, the back part doesn't have this super comfortable cradle bit. It just is the back of the head strap. And then the other thing is that the front of the headset has this really weird plastic shroud on the top. I don't understand exactly what it's for, but all it really does for me is put unnecessary pressure on the top of my head, and it's just really uncomfortable. So that Elite strap is actually leagues better than the Rift S included strap, which I don't know if is even replaceable now that I think about it. So that's really the first point, is comfort. After you get the Elite strap, this thing is way more comfortable than the Rift S. The other thing is the displays. So the displays on this one are essentially two 2K displays, whereas on the Rift S, it's much closer to two 1080p displays. Like, it doesn't quite math out that way, but basically what it comes down to is the resolution on the Quest 2 is much higher per eye than it is on the Rift S, and so what that ends up giving you is a much clearer picture and also much less screen door effect, because when you have more dense pixels, then the spaces between them are smaller, and so you see less of them. And the screen door effect on this thing is just, it's there. It's always going to be there, but it's minuscule compared to how it was on the Rift S, which was already better than the original Quest. So if you were looking to upgrade from a Quest to a Quest 2, definitely go for it. But the display is better, not just in resolution, but also in refresh rate. So the Rift S has a refresh rate of 80 Hertz solid. It won't go above or below that. The Quest 2 has a weird thing where it'll go from 70 to 90 depending on whether you're playing mobile, whether you're on desktop, the kind of game you're playing. There's a whole thing that happens there. But just the fact that it can go up to 90, and I've found that, at least in my experience while I've been playing, it has stayed at a solid 90 while I was playing on desktop. 90 versus 80, when the screens are that close to your face, you do notice that little difference. You wouldn't think that you would, but I at least have noticed it. Other than that, the displays are pretty comparable as far as like colors and brightness and stuff like that. I haven't really noticed anything else other than those specific changes, but I would say that just the resolution change was enough to get me to buy the Oculus Quest 2 over the Rift S. There's one more thing that I want to say about hardware, and this actually ties into the software experience. Oh, actually, before I talk about that, there's one more thing I want to talk about hardware, and that is these little guys, the controllers. So these are called the touch controllers, I think is what Oculus calls them. Now, the touch controllers on the Rift S were bigger than the touch controllers on the Quest, and now the Quest 2's touch controllers are bigger than the controllers for the Rift S. Now, they're not as comfortable in my hand. Right off the bat, they're not as comfortable because they are bigger. There's much more space on the pad. It's just not as comfortable. However, there is a convenience factor that was put in that the comfort was traded out for. And I don't know, if you've watched any of my videos, you should know by now I care a lot about convenience. And this convenience factor is there's this little dead zone that was added. I don't know how I can catch this on the camera, but there's this little dead zone right here on the controller. And this is a dead zone that has no touch support, and it's amazing. Honestly, it's so good. I have a problem during certain games, Beat Saber in particular, where while I'm playing the game, because the Rift S and even the Quest, the original Quest, because those controllers do not have that dead zone, you end up putting your fingers in like different areas, and oftentimes what would happen is I would accidentally press the either Oculus button or the menu button while I was in the middle of a song, and I would end up going to Oculus Home or just completely pausing the song, which completely breaks you out of the mood, and you basically just have to restart because you're definitely going to miss the next note that comes after you, you know? And I hate that stuff. I hate it so much. It's so inconvenient. But these new controllers actually solve that issue just by introducing that tiny little dead zone, and that's all they had to do, which is awesome. Two thumbs up for Oculus, or for Facebook, I guess, in that regard. There is the thing where these controllers are slightly cheaper than the Rift S controllers and also the Quest controllers, in that they don't use that super cool magnetic plate to cover the battery compartment. This one uses like a clip-in system, which in my honest opinion is very difficult to, I'm trying to open it now and I can't seem to get it to pop off. Like, it's right here, I know it is, but it's a nightmare. I'm just trying to, I just want to get to the battery, you know? Like, why is it so difficult? Like, why do I have to get my nail in it? I honestly still haven't figured out the correct way to open this thing, and it's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. But the thing's $100 cheaper, so I'm willing to deal with a small trade like that, especially for a compartment that I only open like, I don't know, like once a month. The batteries usually last pretty long, actually, and they go to sleep pretty quickly. I had some weird issues with my Rift S where one of the controllers drained much more quickly than the other controllers, which I learned is not a uncommon issue. Other people were having this problem, so it could very well just be a Rift S thing, but these luckily have not had that issue. These controllers have lasted quite a while. Now, hardware plus software problem. Lenovo makes the Rift S. Facebook makes the Quest. I feel like the Oculus software really points that out to you because this thing gets updates like crazy. The Quest got updates like crazy. There was constantly new features being added, hand tracking, just the overall tracking was updated more often as well. My Rift S, in the time that I had it, maybe had, I don't know, 7 updates at most. That's being very generous as well. And I basically had to keep it on the beta channel. So in Oculus software, you can basically tell it, okay, opt me in for beta software and beta firmware updates. I basically had to always keep it in the beta software channel just because I did not get updates enough. And at the end of my experience with it, the tracking never really caught up. And I always felt like I was behind on features as compared to the Quest. And I think that really just comes down to the fact that the Lenovo is the one that makes the Rift S, and so Facebook just doesn't care about it that much. Like, it sort of feels like the forgotten middle child, you know? And that's really disappointing as a desktop user because at the end of the day, the Rift S was like the champion of value desktop experience. And it just didn't hold up anymore. So that was one of the issues that I really had and brought me into the software side of things. Now the display link cable, the $80 display link cable is kind of annoying, but the Quest 2 has had no issues handling my VR desktop games. Even when I go through Steam VR, through allowing unknown sources and do Steam VR and do it that way, I've had no issues with it whatsoever, even though the Oculus Link is still technically in beta. It has worked absolutely fine. So really the conclusion that I wanted to come to at the end of this video was just, don't buy the Rift S. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. I know you're thinking about doing it. Don't. No, don't. But what, no, don't. That's really what it comes down to, is don't do it. Buy this thing instead. If you want to buy a desktop VR experience, buy this thing, the 65GB version for $299. Get yourself the $50 Elite strap and get yourself that $80 link cable, or get yourself a third-party link cable that has good reviews. You can buy cheaper link cables. It's not that big a deal. And at most, you'll be spending $30 more than the Rift S, right? For $30 more than the Rift S, this is a serious upgrade. And you get to keep the desktop experience and you get to add onto it an entire portable experience, and you can actually share this experience with your family, and we can all come together and get more people into VR and really spread the VR revolution. But that's really just that's what this video was about. I did it here in this space because this is a very different type of video than what I normally do. I don't normally tell you to go out and buy something or don't buy something. And here I am telling you specifically, don't buy the Oculus Rift S, buy the Quest 2. But yeah, that's why I'm doing it here, because this is a different setting and I feel like it's a different mood, and we'll just make it a different video. So I hope you guys found this video informational. I'm not gonna ask whether or not you enjoyed it. You probably didn't. Let's be real here, but that's fine. I hope you found it informational. I hope that if you were considering the Rift S, I have managed to change your mind in some way, shape, or form. And that's about it. I hope you also have a great day or a great tomorrow. You know what? I hope you have a great day today, and I hope you have a great tomorrow. And I hope you have a great day after that, all the way until my next video when I'm gonna tell you that I hope you have a great day again. So I will see you in the next one. Bye.